If you ever thought about getting a successful mentor or coach, and you actually want me, Spectacular Smith, to actually coach you and become your mentor, I'm actually so excited about releasing my online school, Spectacular Academy, where I'm actually going to teach you live once a month different skill sets that's actually going to help you change your life for the better. Transformational information that I'm going to give you guys access to. I have a formula to success that every single company that I ever touched turned into gold. And I have over 14 companies, okay? And all of them have the same type of success. So I want to teach you everything that the school system should have taught you. You know, everything that I know and how I built these fast-growing companies and these award-winning companies, and show you real curriculums that I'm going to break down, and you're going to have access to me. I'm going to be live in the chat rooms. I'm going to be live in the Facebook groups and personal communities that I'm going to give you guys access to of like-minded entrepreneurs. So you're not by yourself on this mission. Not only you have me as a coach and a mentor, but you actually have your peer-to-peer people that's going to push you and root for you on the way to the top. Guys that's on the same exact wavelength that you are on and want the same exact results. Because my game plan is to change the way the school systems teach and teach you the things that need to make an impact in your life. Things that's going to be a high-ticket skill that you can use forever, where you don't never have to worry about going broke or not eating at night, because once you learn how to market and brand yourself, then you can eat for a lifetime. You get access to my team and everything. If you want to go to my free training just to get a sample of the things that's going to be in my program, you can actually go to specmentorme.com, or I'm going to put it in the bio. Only take a certain amount of people every single month. So reserve your seat and do not procrastinate, because you might just miss out. Now let's get to the podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Spectacular Smith, and welcome to the Spectacular Experience.
We got none other than one of my best friends, and you might know him for his grinding on stage and taking shirts off. But nowadays, he's a freaking amazing entrepreneur, got one of the fastest growing companies in the nation, influencer of the influencers. I consider him an extremely knowledgeable, inspirational character in life overall, man. And just if you know the journey, which we'll talk about here, if he's willing to share it, it's just an amazing journey that he's been on. So this is none other than Spectacular.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the intro. Please, follow me around and tell people that for me.
Marco could be a hype man for anybody any day of the week with that intro, man.
Oh, man. That was great.
Hey, Spec, so right before the show, I was like, hey, this is a special show, Marco. Why don't we got a little surprise for you to kick the show off, right? Don't we, Marco?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that you were a baller, like 55 million types of views on a YouTube kind of baller. But then I started watching this video. I said, you know what? It would be kind of fun to let our listeners kind of hear some of this amazing music that you've been putting in. Why don't we kick down some of the music right now so our listeners can hear some of that beautiful music?
Light this candle, let me set the scene for you, baby. Out the shower so fresh and so clean, baby. Staring in your eyes, I can see the fire. Got you hypnotized, can you feel the vibe?
Are you guys looking for any out-of-shape Jewish models to kind of hop in there and just kind of do their thing, or what?
Nah, we took the last spot got taken up last week. It's no more, bro.
Yeah, how you doing me like that, man? Oh.
Yo,
You never know.
Watching you vibe to your music.
That was great.
That was a moment. I can't even say that I've had that moment. Like seeing you do that was pretty cool, man. Just bring back lots of memories. Awesome, man. All right, well, hey, this is really cool, and It's interesting because I think like in all the years of friendship that we've had, like having just the straight up like the beginnings and origin stories and all those types of conversations is always a really interesting approach. And I think that what I've witnessed from you is somebody who's gone through so many stages in life and such crazy transformations.
Yeah.
And just the sheer like perseverance, the sheer like being able to turn lemons into lemonade and like going from rags to riches, back to rags, back to riches. Like you done had it all. So I love to just hear some of those origin beginnings for you. Even some of the inventions that you had when you were younger, I think would give people some perspective on who Spectacular is.
Man, I really don't know where to start. For me, I mean, I could start from my childhood all the way from like being in a dance group and in the third grade and being in a group called Baby Forever Nasty. We had the older group called Forever Nasty, and we became Baby Forever Nasty, and that's when I really started getting the whole dancing bug. I used to be dancing in my sleep in my car seat when I was a kid, and I always had that dancing bug, man. And I got in this group called Baby Forever Nasty, and learned really how to dance, right? How to routines and all that stuff. And it was
how old were you?
I was in the third grade, so that was what? How old are you in the third grade? Like
8, 9,
7,
8
years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So it all started from that, and that was really my first love, just performing. We used to perform in front of like 3,000, 4,000 people in front of the National Guard. That was something in Miami that they had every single year. It was huge. The Arabian Nights Festival. We used to dance there. So I was always an entertainer, getting snatched off a stage, girls screaming, grown women screaming. I'm thinking back now, like, hold up now, right? But hold up, wait a minute. But yeah, it was always great. Yeah, sorry about that.
You didn't have a 6-pack at 8 though, Jeremy.
Yeah,
so
I'm in the shape of a pear at this point. Hey, but you know what though? The thing that's interesting, because I know you through Marco, and we've had some conversations with each other. We're actually doing some business together. But the thing that's really interesting to me that I always look at, like even the high performers that you could look at, like these people are successful, is dude, you grind. You are grinding still, and you're successful. You're already there, and you're even pushing it even harder. I mean, Marco, I mean that's definitely the DNA. It's a falsehood that once you get successful, it's like you're kicking it. That's just not. I mean, I know it's not in my DNA, Marco. I know for sure it's not in your DNA. Nah, but maybe you can speak to entrepreneurs about that, because I'm curious to hear a little bit about that type of thinking. Like how, because now that you're there, how do you stay sharp?
Well, it came from me being on top of the world and just losing it all. So I guess it's more being fearful or not being that person that lose it all again just because it done happened so many times, or being on the top of the world in music, going on top of the world in music, losing it all, building my Twitter accounts up to 6 million followers, Twitter suspending me, losing it all, building it up again, and then recently they suspended it again for no reason, losing it all.
Making Grumpy Cat.
Making Grumpy Cat, losing it all.
You're the originator of Grumpy Cat.
The creator of Grumpy Cat, right? So
we're gonna flash. By the way, I'm gonna have the producer flash in a little meme of Grumpy Cat. That's hot.
Yeah. Thank you. So, and then like even my business, when I started my business, like Facebook realized that we was making so much money, and they swiped the rug from under us with that and turned our water off from that too. So I ended up losing it all, but also had to really figure out how to pivot. And they say you got to reinvent yourself 3 times in a lifetime. And I'm maxed out. I'm maxed out at this point. I'm in my early 30s. And honestly, for me, it's just understanding that it can happen again. So I don't want it to happen again. So they say that you have to go broke 3 times and end up keeping your wealth. And literally those 3 times done happened to me already. The first time is that, you get the money and then somebody take it from you. All right. Then the second time you get the money and you invest in the wrong things, and then like you giving it to the wrong people, and like you try to help everybody out, and then that ends up, swiping it from under your feet also. And then the third time around, it's like, ain't nobody gonna take this from me, and I ain't giving it away, and I ain't making no bad investments, right? And then that third time is when you really keep it. And I'm on my third time. So I'm trying to keep it, right? And I done went through those motions of going through the honeymoon phase where I get so like things are going so great, and you tend as an entrepreneur to take your feet off the gas. You're like, oh, everything is great. Like I'm killing right now. I'm making more money than I ever made in my life. You got to have 7 streams of income. But they never taught us that didn't mean you had to start 7 companies to get that, right? And I didn't know that. So I would get one company up, get it going, and get it on full speed, full throttle. And then I would try to come over here and I would try to launch this company so I can make up more money. But the problem is, what was going on is the company that was the breadwinner, it was taking a hit because I wasn't giving it no attention. I was giving everything else attention so I could start growing these other companies. So as I was growing this one company that was struggling, this company literally went down. I had the last $25 in my pocket. And while I was trying to get this, I was doing club promotions, trying to get this club up to a certain point. Yeah. And it's like, you take an L, you win, you take an L, you win. And this was my breadwinner. I was making like my first successful company. I was making like, I would say $3,000 a day. And I went from $3,000 a day, stopped putting focus on to try to get this other thing off because it was literally sinking. And I took my eye off of this business, and then that business ended up going down. So at that moment, I literally let my club thing go. I got it all the way up to like $6,000 to $8,000 a week, and then I started my other company, and I let that go.
How old were you at that time, Spec?
So this was all right. So this was my first time actually having This is my first time trying to create multiple sources of income. Right. So my very first successful business was a candy business when I was 11 years old, and I was making $1,500 to $2,000 off of that a week. But my first time.
Wait. What kind of candy?
M&M's, Starburst, the regular stuff.
The regular
Capri
stuff.
Suns,
That's really good.
Airheads.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was when I was 6 years. I mean, that was when I was in 6th grade. At 11 years old. And then my first time trying to create multiple sources of income, which this was like 8 years ago. I was in the club business as a club promoter, basically, because I was basically trying to take my brand and trying to capitalize off of it because my music career line. Were you single at the
time? Were you single at the time?
No, I wasn't. Nope.
Okay.
And it was actually a strip club.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very conducive for marriage. Good.
Yes, it was literally
a strip club. Bro?
Yeah, it was literally a fight. It was literally a fight every single day before I left home.
It's a rad nugget.
So I left. I literally tried to create the most multiple sources of income, and then I had to just let it go. And I gave it to my partners, and I was like, y'all can keep it. I'm moving to LA, and I just let it go, and I focused on what was getting me that $3,000 a day. And then within the first month, so I was doing, all right, let me even rewind this because it even get deeper than that. So before the whole club thing, right, everything went flatline for me. And I had a royalty company called Sound Exchange. And Sound Exchange is a company that pay you for your online royalties. And with Sound Exchange, they gave me $60,000 by mistake. And when they gave me $60,000 by mistake, and when I got that $60,000, I decided to invest into the company. I was like, man, I seen somebody doing my idea. I was like, nah, hell no. Nah. Like somebody doing my idea. Like, you know how that is. Oh, hell no. Somebody doing my idea. So I was doing my meetings back and forth from LA to Miami. And I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. So I quit. I gave that other company to my partner, and I took my family. I took my assistant at the time. My girl took her best friend, and we moved to LA. We rented a house for like a year, and then by the time we got into the first 6 months, I took that $60,000 to $1 million in the first 6 months.
When was this?
This was literally right before. This was in 2014. 2013, around that time, And then that's when I created Awazar. That's when I created
Awazar is
Awazar.
that's your current crown jewel, or one of your current crown jewels. I would say that's like
one of your
bread. And you know what? I was talking about this with Marco. So we all know that Marco's semi-retired in Medellin, Colombia, with his beautiful pregnant wife, right?
Yes.
And so basically, Marco's got two people in his life that is not his wife. It's you and I. Right? Like I'm on the left side, you're on the right side. So you're kind of like the emperor and I'm Darth Vader. And I was telling Marco, how the hell do you not kick it back into 80 to 100 hours a week? Just be real. Spec, what's the over-under on how much time it's going to take Marco to be back at 80 to 100 hours a week? Real talk. Because with you on one side and me on the other side, there's absolutely no chance he's not going to go nuts.
You know what? Honestly, I feel like Marco is in a stage right now in his life where he's just taking one step at a time. And when he gets that love again, like when he finds his next love, like he's going to be super committed. But right now he's on the honeymoon stage. He's enjoying life. He ain't in no rush. You know, it's one of those stages when you just got from a breakup. You're like, I ain't rushing into nothing. I'm single like a mother. And that's what Marco is right now, right? So he's like he on cruise control right now. But when he hit those notches, it is game. I see nothing less than $1 billion.
Seriously, he's a magnet. Marco, what do you have to say about that?
Yes.
I'm flattered. And I agree. Yeah, I'm definitely in that like one step at a time area and just appreciating the wonderful gifts that come around me. But there's something actually that brings me to that we were talking about, I think like yesterday, about that X factor that you and me share. And when you talk about your ups and downs, those aren't normal ups and downs. Like people aren't in the 6th grade making $1,500 a week and just being like, yeah, I had this candy business that was making me like more than my parents would. So like, what is that about you that you think that other people could take away and understand that sort of X factor and that thing that keeps you moving and keeps you getting up and keeps you getting up and performing high when you're down?
You know what? Honestly, bro, I really don't know. I'm not even like, no, seriously, bro. I just think that I love success. Like I don't ever want to fail at nothing. And I know what it takes to be successful. So if this is the formula, like if it's you having integrity, if it's you helping other people, if it's you putting in the time and the energy, doing the things that others don't want to do to get what others don't have, like I understand those principles. And I understand you need a team to do the things that you need to do to get to that $1 billion level. Like nobody can do it by themselves. Yeah. And if you surround yourself around the right people to motivate you and push you, then the people that's going to want you around them is the people that you're being resourceful to. It's like it's a no-brainer, and people don't really understand these aspects of it. And some of my biggest mentors and inspirations are people that I just gave value to, and they wanted me around. And the people don't understand that. So I know that in order for me to get where I want to go in life and to see the type of wealth I want to see, to help the amount of people I want to help, like it takes money. People say money ain't everything until you ain't got no money. Until somebody asks you for help and you can't help them out. Like that's the worst feeling in the world, to know that you put in all this time and energy and somebody reach out to you and you can't even help them. Like, that feels like shit. So like, my goal is to make as much money as possible, and then I can give as much as possible because now I have it to give. But if you ain't got it to give, who the hell are you really helping, right? Yeah. And that comes with...
When they talk about money, right? Like, what does money provide you? Because I look at money the same way that you do. It's options. It's the optionality to not just help other people if you want to help other people. It's the decision to wake up in the morning and do whatever the f you want to do when you're going to do it, right? It's not having to be... beholden to, you know what, I have to go do this. And, we're in a weird time right now, right? Like we're in this time where there's a lot of success that people are having because they're making, or they're colliding with success because they're making it happen. There's some people that have been just hurt by what's going on with this because it's unfortunate, like no other reason other than just wrong place, wrong time. And then you have normal people that are not entrepreneurs, people that are just working 9-to-5 jobs that can't work right now. So there's a full gamut of stuff. But the thing that I always see is, even if you're in what you would consider to be like a lucky place right now where you can still earn very successfully, it doesn't mean that it's just happening. You still got to go earn that. right? Like we've been on overdrive. I know what you guys have done. By the way, congrats with the launch of your guys' summit. Marco told me it was a huge success. That's the Ground Zero Summit, by the way. I mean, that was awesome. Yeah. And you guys put that together in no time. And honestly,
legit.
the lineup that you guys had, I would love for listeners that are tuned in right now to get a little bit of insights as to what that was, what you guys did. Maybe we could talk about that for a second.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Marco was the person who really took lead on everything. And another guy named Steve Canal, which was phenomenal. He's on the board of the Power Circle, which is an organization of people of color all coming together to share resources and be resourceful to each other. And we decided to give back during and one of the ways that we felt like we can give back was the fact that people feel like it's over for them. You know, people feel like this is the end of the world. And we wanted to really showcase our story to show it ain't the end of the world. You know, how many times stuff that happened to you, you feel like this is it, like I'm doomed. And then like you realize the smoke clear, like, oh, I'm still up, I'm still alive. So we really wanted to show everybody that you might go through your worst times and this might be your worst time, but it's the counter punch, right? You see a wide open for what you're going to counter with, right? It's equivalent to that little car that go click, 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 click when you taking it step by step, backwards, and you let it go and it just accelerates forward, right? And that's what this is for people. And we want to show that. And that's what we did. And the reaction was phenomenal. So not only we told our story and we conditioned the mindset of the people, but we also gave them some resources and tools they can execute on during the next 3 months while we put together the next Ground Zero Summit.
Yeah, man. And, you know, I think something I'd love for you to touch on, because related to, and it's a good segue, Jeremy, but related to what you were talking about success and having the type of finances that allow you to have those options. One of the big themes that we spoke about in the Ground Zero Summit, and something that you're very keen on, is that it's not just the hard work, right? Like there's a mindset to it that allows you to stay grounded. So what are those values and those grounding principles and mindsets that you keep that other people could carry on with them in their lives?
One of the main things, man, is integrity. Integrity. Never do a deal when you're desperate. My mentor says that, Master P. Never do a deal when you're desperate. Making sure that your integrity is in line, because those same people that you try to mess over for a couple bucks, like it literally comes around full circle.
Full circle.
And you wouldn't be like somebody circumvented me in the business. I'm gonna give you an example. Somebody circumvented me after we was doing business, and I told him like, hey, listen, don't be reaching out to my clients. Like, this is gonna be a gentleman's handshake right now. Don't go into my. This man was straight to my client, like right off the bat. And then what's crazy is he went straight around me and went straight to my client, right? And I even warned him, said, all right, I'd seen that. All right, I'm giving you a warning. Don't do it again. He did it again, but this time my client literally reacted and he took the bait. So not only he messed up my relation, he tainted my relationship, but the same guy who circumvented me, literally, he got put into one of my group chats and he was like, hey, what do you think about this guy? And it was literally like 20 successful entrepreneurs that was all gonna sign up, and I shut it down. I was like, it's a no-go. So now you circumvented one person and you lost out on 20 people of potential business. And not only that, you didn't have my blessings on top of that. This ain't gonna be the ending of me talking down on you, right? As a businessman, because every business you have to go for it with integrity, because if not, it's literally gonna come bite you in your ass sooner or later. The universe figures out a way to get that money back out your pocket, right? That's just what it is. So
Marco,
you thought you did
true?
something, but in reality you didn't.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No
Like,
doubt
I mean,
it,
you ain't speaking nothing but facts, because that. And I think the beautiful part is that it works both ways. Of like, just like you sitting in that area being like, I got screwed over, and you could turn that into, I don't trust nobody no more, and like, I'm gonna close my doors and all of that energy. But at the end of the day, like, you continuing to show up the way you are, of somebody that's like, I'm just staying with my integrity. I can't control what other people are doing, but just know, like, this shit ain't gonna end up great for you. Like, I'm gonna be fine.
Right,
Like,
that's a fact.
I'm gonna be good.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy, because people they don't understand that though. It's like I just know it's possible. So that's why I get my one, like, hey,
I seen it.
I see
Yeah,
it.
it's
More
like,
warning. I was like, hey, I know the game, right? So I done came from the streets. I done got the book smarts. I done went to the schools. I done did everything. So it's kind of hard to get over on me. So it's like, it's equivalent to a boxer. And you're trying to fight me on the street, and I know I'm a boxer. It's like, yo, I know I'm gonna beat your ass.
bro.
Like, so I don't even have to fight you, right? So like, I know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna just avoid you, right? Or I'm gonna just tell you, like, hey, and if you swing, like, then it's just game over. But the point is, it's not about me looking for trouble or me feeling like a battered woman, or a battered man, and like this. Like, it's about me being who I am at all times and adding that value to people, making sure I'm motivating and pushing people. So in return, they motivate and push me, right? Because you just never know who's going through stuff. And at the same time with that, it's just figuring out what can you do to change somebody else's lives. They say, if you can make enough people rich, you will become rich. That's that simple. Yeah. If I give enough people what they want, they'll give me what I want.
Well, they say you can't get without giving, and you could almost make an argument the most selfish person in the world is Mother Teresa. Why? Because she gets so much serotonin from giving.
Yeah,
it's really funny. You know, like every time I've taken a shortcut, I can almost say unequivocally it bites me. Whether it's a business shortcut or whether it's something like I see, I'm like, maybe I'm going to pay attention to that, and I don't, but I know what's wrong, and it's kind of over here. Or every time I see something weird in a relationship, and I just kind of let it sit there and fester because I don't want to get into like conflict or constructive conflict, or I don't want to rock the boat because I'm worried if that person's going to like me. Every time, without exception, that bit me in the every single time. Every time I think about around, every time I don't think about like we have to live. That is the first thing of success. You have to live right. You have to be congruent with the that you're saying, because the universe has a way of just kind of, which I think we as the world are kind of getting right now with everything that's going on with the. But the thing is, like, you know, like I look at you, I look at Marco, like you guys are two guys that I like. I love working with Marco, for example. I always tell Marco, like, man, I look up to you. He teaches me. He's kind of like he's like the CEO concierge. I like call him up, Marco. I don't know what I'm going to do as an investor. Calm down. Let me tell you what I went through at Speaker. And I know that Marco also learns a lot from you, and I can see why. But you know, what do you look at yourself as? I mean, first and foremost, you're a human being, but do you look at yourself as an entertainer first that turned entrepreneur, that now has turned into a motivator, or do you look at yourself as just an entrepreneur who's just like living his life and you don't have a label? Like, how do you see yourself as, like, when someone says, "What do you do?"
I just see myself as a normal person, bro. Somebody who just want more for myself. And I know that in order for me to get what I want, like, I got to put this time, I got to put this energy. And at the same time, I want people to come with me. Like, I don't want to be at this big table by myself with a big feast. It's like, nah, who at the table with me? And we all gonna eat, right? And that's what I see myself as. Like, and honestly, like, my why is giving, because I got told my why, right? I got told my why from God. God literally told me my why. And I'm just being obedient at this point. And I'm just doing everything I need to do to make sure I'm serving him at the same time on what I agreed to. And once I agreed, that's when I see my success. Literally overnight. It was crazy how that happened. I got my message, and then like literally overnight. And if nobody believed in God, like, that was my moment that I believed in God. It was no other choice, even though I do believe in God, and I did before that. But if I didn't, that was the time I was like, whoa, what was that? And like,
so you had like a spiritual experience. What happened? You had an abyss part of your life, or something that was something that happened that was bad, or what happened?
So I met an angel, and an angel gave me a message. And he told me exactly what it was, and he had the message 2 years before he told me.
How did you meet the angel, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't know what I don't even know I'm supposed to be saying this, right? So it's like, I don't really know.
Hey, by the way, Spec, because this is going to get syndicated on YouTube and Google, all these places. I just found out the other day that we can't cuss and put paid media behind on a YouTube video. So every single video up to here, I'm like cussing all over the place, talking about. So now we're bleeping all my out every single episode so we can put paid media behind it. So that's some real censorship But you know what? Like, we talk about everything. We talk about good, bad, and everything in between. We're not scared to get into a little bit of a political conversation right here, because at the end of the day, it's all respect as far as I'm concerned. And I like hearing from other people's opinions, so I understand what people take. And I also think it's important for entrepreneurs that are out there to understand that, like, you don't have to be defined. Like, there's like certain types of entrepreneurs. You're a very specific kind of entrepreneur. I think you were like voted Entrepreneur of the Year behind Gary Vee. It was last year or the year before. That's not like a small accomplishment. That's meaningful. And you, as you're a black leader, right? Like, if I'm a black entrepreneur, I'm not going to be interested in what Jeremy Barnett has to say. I'm definitely going to be interested in what you have to say. Do you feel like it's part of your responsibility as somebody who's successful to say, you know what, I need to give back to my community, and it's just what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. That's the way I live my life, and that's a mission that you have, and that's part of your purpose.
Yep. I feel like I feel like nobody else is doing it with my type of platform. There's no educators out there that has multiple companies. And I had I was sitting down with a guy at my office, and I literally told him, like, I haven't accomplished nothing in life. This man looked at me like I was crazy. Like, I was like, he was like, oh, okay, Spec. So he started running down everything that I done did, right? And he was like, oh, yeah, you ain't do nothing in life, right? And I was just like, but no, you took it out of context. Like, I feel like where I want to be at, I haven't accomplished anything yet, right? And this is just, I feel like it's my first phase, and I feel like I got 10 phases to go. So I feel like nobody who has who's an entertainer or a huge platform around my age is doing this, right? And I even feel like, you know, even though I look up to Diddy and look up to Master P and look up to, you know,
totally
nobody's
what they're doing.
Nobody's really doing
what you're doing is totally different. Like,
exactly. So
you could get on a stage and talk to 10,000 people, and I'm going to leave that auditorium and I'm going to be pumped up, and I'm going to want to go, like, basically just go do stuff. Like, I'm going to want to go start a business. I'm going to want to start living right. I'm going to be motivated, and it's a different kind of thing. And you're right. Like, if I was going to put my finger on it right now, you are very unique in that sense. And you also, I mean, you're still an amazing performer. And from what I think, you had a tour that was canceled because of what's going on right now in the world right now. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, I just feel like nobody's doing it. And I feel like right now my community and my culture is misled, and they don't have information that they need in order to get where they want to go in life. And I feel like I experienced that already. Yeah. So I feel like it'd be a disservice for me not to give it to my community, all because the guys who so high up, it's not that they don't want to do it. I feel like they can't do it. They don't have the time to do it. They have billion-dollar companies, like, you know, and I'm on the ground floor, still on the grind, like, still doing what I got to do, even though people laugh at me, say I'm on the ground floor, but I just feel like I can touch the people still. Yeah. So as I'm a person that can still touch the people, I'd rather touch the people. And if I have information that I can give you, if you're willing to take in the information, right, then I'm willing to tell you. I was just talking to my girl the other day, and she was talking to me about the type of person I am. And she was like, oh, you know, you saying that you want to save the world. And like, we was saying some stuff like that. And like, you're trying to help everybody. And you just pro black guy. And like, and I'm just like, that's not really me. I'm the person that if, like, I don't feel sorry for nobody who's broke right now. I really don't feel sorry for you, right? And the reason why is because if you got this information that I'm gonna give to you, apply it, right? If you're trying and you're broke, I want to help you. But if you're broke and you don't want to about it and you want to just point the finger and play the blame game, I don't care about that. I don't care about those type of people. But if you're somebody who's in a certain situation and you don't want to be in that situation, but you're willing to do anything possible to work your ass off and get off your cut Netflix off, like, do everything you got to do to get where you got to go. Those are the people I want to care. Those are the people I care about. Those are the people I want to help. But I'm just not the guy who's like the pro black guy that just want to help everybody who's like, no, I want to help the people that want to be helped. I want to turn winners into bigger winners. You know, I want to take the people who want to take information and spread it to others, right? I talked to my mentor. His name is Jeff Hoffman. He co-founded Priceline. And I talked to him. And I asked him, I was like, why do you mentor me? And he said, Spec, and he got real quiet with a low tone. He said, I know you're going to take the information I give you and you're going to spread it to more people. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it. I was like, wow, I had that aha moment. I was like, you right, because I should be telling everybody you tell me.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally.
Sharing like crazy.
If you give it to me and it works, I'm literally gonna tell the world about it. I'm gonna get on my podcast. I'm gonna get on TV. I'm gonna get on the stage. I'm gonna tell anybody who's willing to listen. If you're willing to listen, I'm gonna give you the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you the game, and that's what made me start my online business school. Right? I seen Diddy. He launched his Harlem Capital School, and that just inspired the shit out of me. I was like, how does it feel to be black and own your own school? So I started my online business school, and I was like, man, I went through all these ups and downs as an entrepreneur, and there was nobody there to help me. I didn't have no entrepreneur friends that was successful at the time. I didn't have no mentor at the time. I literally had to learn every single thing by myself. So I was literally building a plane while it was falling down full speed at 100 miles per hour. And right before it hits the ground, every single time, I lift that thing right on up. Right? I almost was bankrupt like 3 times. Right? Right after I hit the fastest growing company in America, my company almost went bankrupt. Like literally the year later, because Facebook changed one thing. So now I had to literally go from the fastest growing company, something that was working so well, and then it flatlined because one change. And then I had to figure out a way to pivot from that because I had all these employees counting on me. So I had to literally pivot from that because it just wasn't about me and my family. It was about them and their family also. So I literally had to pivot from that. And then boom, I got another fast growing company again. So now I done pivot to a service business. And so it's like the whole life as an entrepreneur is just pivoting, but having the right information. So as I didn't have the right information, I had to literally read hundreds of books. And mind you, I didn't read books until 4 or 5 years ago. I was the person that used to tell me, I ain't reading no book. What the hell I look like? I was that idiot, right? I wish I could get in a time machine, and because it's probably a time machine is literally probably going to be a Tesla, and I'm going to jump in. I want to just slap the out of myself from back in the day. Like, what the hell was you thinking? I wish I started reading books at 13. Like, even my kids now, the first thing I do is teach them mindset. Give them mindset books. Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? The Richest Man in Babylon. Like basically the basic fundamentals on mindset. Because that's what it takes. Because so many people talk themselves out of their victories and they can't get their full potential in life because they too busy counting themselves out of in their mind. They talking themselves out of their mission, out of their dreams, out of their $1 million idea they done had for 5 years they keep talking about.
So what was that moment though, man? Because obviously I've known you for 15 years. Yeah. So I've seen that entire evolution, and there's that moment. Even when you said about 4 or 5 years ago you started reading, like what was that inspiration or that spark that caused that shift for you?
It was the failure, bro. When my company was going down, I was like, what the can I do? Right? And then that's when I got introduced to audiobooks because I'm not a reader. To this day, I never read a book from front to back.
I have not. Look,
probably Cat in a Hat.
Real talk. I have not read one book, not one. I am the Audible book bandit. Okay.
Yes.
But I have not read. I can't do it.
But nobody told me this. Nobody told me this. Like, who the hell was gonna tell me that? Listen, Spec, I know you can't sit down long enough to read a whole book from front to back, but you can literally be on the go and do what you do, work out, be on the go, driving, like going from commuting, like, and you can literally put an audio book on.
Yeah, and there's a playbook to entrepreneurial success.
Somebody will read to you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and something that's actually really key that you just mentioned that you exemplify very well, and you helped me a lot in this, is that in our history and our friendship, like I could have provided that type of information and been in that support loop, but like I was so caught up in so tunnel vision into my own I didn't really take advantage of and really realize the resources that were around me. Right. Obviously with Ground Zero, with the Power Circle that you created, like can you speak to people about really like leveraging resources and creating value with one another? Because you've been somebody that has supported me a lot in opening my mind in that way, and constantly being there and constantly wanting to reach out in that way?
Yeah, it all started from Pitbull. When I was coming out in the game, Pitbull sat me down one day. It was really the whole group, and he was like, listen, every single person you meet, get their contact and keep up with them. Send them birthday texts, keep up with them from holidays. And ever since I got that game, I ran with it for my whole life. And now I'm the type of person, I get something and I put it on steroids. Like, you can't just give me something at work and don't think I'm about to put like, that's just what I do, right? So he gave me that information, and what I did was I started really keeping up with the people. I started segmenting everybody in my phone, and that's where the power circle came from, because I have power circles, I have genius circle. So if you make over $100 million plus, you in the genius circle. If you're influential, $1 million plus, or super influential, I put you on my power circle. And then I got my VIPs. So like, I separate everybody, and depending on what the occasion is, like I do things accordingly, and I keep up with everybody. And even if people try to give up on me, I don't know. I don't take no for an answer, right? Mm-hmm. Marco tried to give up so many times. Like, I was like, bro, what are you doing? And I'm trying to teach him the game too. Like, bro, you gotta keep up with these people. You gotta mingle with these people. You gotta text them. Like, you gotta call them. Like, bro, keep up with these people. And I realized that as I started getting around these rich people, and started getting around wealthy people, and I transitioned from just this, my rich, well, they thought I was rich at the time, but my my celebrity friend, to actually somebody that was coming around, and I seen the way that these rich people was working, right? And this majority white rich people, and I'm saying like, oh, Spec, you need what? Oh, let me introduce you to Kelly. Kelly's over there. And oh, let me introduce you to John. He does this. And then I realized like, wow, my culture don't do this. Because we got taught the game is to be sold, not told. Don't introduce them to the plug. That's how we got raised, because everything was literally like crab in the crab bucket mentality, and everything was based on illegal transactions, right? And you work hard for this introduction or this person, and you don't want to mess it up. But I realized that you get more, and I learned this from my rich white friends, that you can literally give all the connections you got. You can get all the resources you got. And then the people look at you. Every time that resource come up, or every time that person do something great for them, or every time they get something from that resource, they think about you. You on top of mind now. So now you become this resourceful person that they want around, because Spec got all the resources. Or since you helped me so much, and what you introduced me to made such an impact, I want to help you 10x. So now I made you an extra $1 million. But guess what? You want to make me an extra $10 million because I made you an extra $1 million, and that $1 million did everything for you. So when I realized that, that's when I decided to get as many people together as possible, try to introduce as many people as possible, try to add as much value as possible. And I realized that come tenfold, because now the person start talking about me like, oh, man, Spec introduced me to Bob. Man, I love Spec. Spec is a great guy. And all of a sudden, people come back to me and it's like, Spec, I never heard not one bad thing about you. And I tried, right? I never heard nothing bad about you, bro. And that's the crazy part about it, because people don't understand that when you stand in that position, you end up in a power position, because you're that person that's the energy. You're the person that's the connector. You're the person that make people see the things in themselves that they don't see. You can show them their blind spots. And when you can be that person in a circle, then you become that main guy that everybody want around them.
Yeah. We could do this all day.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, Marco, I mean, we talk about this. We have had some A+ people on the show. I was really excited for today's show. I mean, it's not just that you're an amazing human being. You're an entrepreneur, you're an entertainer, but you really are a good human being. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be to be successful in whatever it is you're doing. And there's a falsehood that goes around, like, there are people, trust me, that are very successful that will slit your throats at the second that they get it. And, having been on the other end of it, and just remembering how it felt when I divorced my old company, and then building back up again, I think about like the way I want to live my life today. And I am in abundance, right? I want a lot, and I want a lot for everybody that is around me. And I'm always that, and I had to learn, because I'm an only child. And everything you just said was my map up until I was about 32, 33 years old. I was a taker. And I had to learn to be a giver in order to get to a point where I could have any sort of success, because that was kind of like what I learned as an only child, single mother, all that kind of crap. And it's not for this show. But my point is, like, what you're saying is exactly right. When you get comfortable with giving and you can be a selfish giver, that does come back around in lots of different ways, because there's a subconscious variable that's tick-tocking away in that person's brain. They feel, and you could say they feel like they owe you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, whatever it is. But the bottom line is you are putting yourself in a position to where when your name is called, you're going to get it because you have already done. And that's the way you're right. When you say that, though, and then you kind of tie that back to what your mission and purpose is, it's crystal clear to me why you're doing what you're doing right now and having success, because I do agree with you. You're servicing an underserved market. It's not underserved. It's not even served. Facts. Right? There's nobody talking.
Yeah, not at all.
Nobody.
I mean, we launched that summit and we're like, there's nothing else like this. This is crazy.
Well, and look, this is Rad Intelligence for influencers. We are the #1 influencer podcast on the planet, period. End of story. Boom, bada bing. And you're going to hear a little blink when that comes out. Right? So let's break it down like this. Advice to a entrepreneur getting ready to start a business from your perspective. Let's call it this. I'm gonna just say it because I don't care. It's a young black man getting ready to start a business. He he didn't go to college, but he's smart. He's a hustler. Maybe he's trying to get out of the game or something like that. Maybe he's just trying to get out of his world because everyone in his world isn't doing anything positive. Whatever his mission is, he just wants to be an entrepreneur that's kind of get to eventually where you are. What are like the first 5 or 6 things that guy needs to do or that woman needs to do in order to really start working towards success?
Yeah, that's easy. So one of the things I would do is I would learn how to, and depend on your personality type. If you are someone who can learn sales and you can learn marketing, if you know those two and you master those two, you'll never go broke. You'll never go hungry because you can always make money. I can lose everything today and give me a laptop and some internet. Like I'm gonna make some money.
But how do you put yourself in that sales position? Because look, I could tell you something straight up. Like there's another part of my life. It's not for this conversation, but there's another part of my life where I wasn't the CEO guy. I was a guy that was doing like random, and I figured out one day I'm like, I can sell. And then I got a job at a newspaper company, but I had people around me that were telling me that. How do you get to the point where you actually know what to do to harness it?
Yeah, and honestly, it's a few ways, and this is literally how I'm like. This is my go-to, right? It's programs, courses. Even if you got to start off with a Udemy, right? You can literally go to Udemy and type in Facebook ads, and they're going to teach you. YouTube. Like if you don't have any money, you can start with the free sources. Podcasts. Like when I got put on the podcasts, I was like, well, hold up. You mean to tell me that guys who have all this experience, have $1 billion companies, and all they want is a subscriber, so they're going to give me all the information, possibly just for me to become a view, and so they can rank higher on a chart? Like, and they're going to give me all the information I want for free? Done. I will be a subscriber, right? I will leave you a review. Give me the game, right? So, and that's one of the things, right? I would subscribe to all the podcasts. I would go look for my mentors, because I realized that as I got older and I learned about mentors, you didn't have to have a mentor physically. You can have a mentor virtually. And you can study that person. You can watch their interviews. I didn't know you can go on the Apple and you can type a person's name and all their interviews will pop up. I didn't even know that, right? So now I can literally go put in Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and anybody who ever did a podcast with them. You can listen to all their game, all their interviews. That's phenomenal. So now not only I can go listen to your books or read your books, I can go listen to your interviews. I can go listen to your podcast. I can study your company. I can go to your email list, subscribe to that. I can go follow you on social media. I'm going to stalk you. And I'm going to learn everything possibly of everything you have in your brain. And then I will go find the people who has program. And I would go figure out which ones. You might take some L's on a couple. You might get the quote-unquote gurus that ain't going to teach you nothing. But one thing I do know, even the quote-unquote gurus that don't teach you much, you still get nuggets out of it. It's equivalent to reading a book. You read a whole book for 8 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, and you get 3 to 5 nuggets out of that book. It's the same thing with programs. Go get a program. It might be a sales program. You want to go learn how to sell? It's a guy named Dan Lok right now. DANLOK. Go follow him. He will teach you how to do sales. He got a bunch of material free on YouTube. He has his own podcast, and he has a program you can go sign up to. Save up, go get the payment plan. If you got a payment plan, pay the full. If you want to ever ask for money, ask for the money for these programs. If you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, do what you got to do to get where you got to go. And that's what I would do. I would get programs. I would read these books, I would listen to these podcasts, and I would find me a mentor that I can stalk and make sure. And it might be even the virtual mentor, and then I would find a physical mentor. You'll be surprised who is willing to look out for you. But the first thing before you jump into that mentor, try to add as much value to that person as possible. By the time you give 10 things, he's going to be wanting to be your mentor. You don't even have to ask him because he's literally going to want to. And by the 10th time, if he don't say, do I need to help you? Then the important thing is for you to ask at that time. Once you ask, then you shall receive. But after you already put the work in, see what he needs, and don't ask him if he need help with it. Just give it to him. Say, hey, Mr. Charlie, here goes you was looking for a writer for a book. I heard you said that you was going to write a book. I got 10 people that my friends are using that help write their books. And here go a whole list of people you can use. Here go their numbers, and haul ass. Don't even look back. Don't even give them a chance to say thank you. All right, peace. You know what I'm saying? And by the time you come back with something else he was looking for, it's like, oh my God, man, I need to get verified. It's like, okay. By the time you look up, hey, Mr. Charlie, check your account. It's verified. All right. Haul ass before he can even ask for anything or say thank you. And by the time you do that 3 to 4 to 10 times, he's like, yo, no, I'm tired of you leaving me. What can I help you with? Thought you'll never ask, Mr. Charlie.
Yes.
I would love for you to be my mentor.
Yeah,
I'm struggling in my business, and I'm really trying to get this thing off the floor. Man, and I really would love your guidance and your help. And I really just need an hour worth of your time a month. If we could meet up at least one time a month, it'd really do a lot for me, and I will really appreciate you. And everything that you do as a mentor, all they want to know is that you're putting action into the things that they're telling you, that you're putting action within what he's telling you. So, and then the next thing is, don't be a mentee that know it all. Even if you do know it, he's like, yo, your name is Spectacular Smith. And I was like, word, I didn't know that. Okay, let me write that down. Don't know it all. Sit there, literally sit there, take it in, and put whatever you put into action and bring it back to him the next time and say, this is what I did. And he's going to feel good about that because he's becoming your mentor, because he wants to guide you and he wants to give you the knowledge. That's where he gets his adrenaline, his dopamine from, is by you putting into action the things he's telling you. He feels good when he leave that meeting. Like, yo, mentorship is a two-way street. They feel good too. So just some quick game.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I tell you what, I honestly feel like we could have a 6-hour conversation, us three. Spec, you're an inspiration to not just me, but I know a big inspiration in Marco's life, but to all the people that you guys are both. I mean, you guys are both really doing some great work right now. And I'm sure there's just lots and lots of folks that are not only getting inspired by you, but the thing that I heard you say, the most important part is you got to put the work in. You got to if somebody comes to you and they're like, help me out, or they want something and they haven't done anything to show some sort of value proposition or whatever, you're just not even going to pay it 2 seconds of attention, because we have such a finite resource in time.
Yes.
Why would we invest time to this guy, to this woman, to this kid, to this whoever? And that's, I think, the thing. Like, it's like when I get reached out to without any thought on like some cold email from somebody pitching me some, they haven't even looked at my profile. They haven't looked at my company. They haven't looked at anything. I'm like at least take 3 seconds to read my profile. And that is the thing, is like today, what I've noticed with both you and Marco is you guys are magnetic in a room. Like you guys literally, Marco, honestly, like you're probably one of the most, like when you are in a room and you get going, I'm just like, I'm floored. I'm like, God, I just don't need to say shit ever. You know what I mean? Spec, you seen it, right? When he gets going, like, I'm like, you know, like whatever you said. But you guys have that thing, that X factor that we always talk about. But it didn't just happen. It happened because why? When somebody talks to me about something, like whatever, like I can talk about it, but why can I talk about it? It's because number one, I've done the work. I've had the issues. I've had the problems. I've had the success, the failures, more failures than successes, and lots of learning. But I have probably listened to 300, maybe 350 Audible books. And they're all iterations of each other. There's nothing in there that is, there's nothing fiction related. It's all business, mindset, self-help, natural language processing, understanding how to use it, practice it in your life, understanding mindset, how to come back, all that kind of stuff. And then honestly, like deconstructing Warren Buffett, deconstructing, Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss was the first podcast that I listened to. And I started listening to this. I'm like, oh my God, where the fuck was this my whole life? It was 6-7 years ago. And I just think about it like that information, we are in the age of information. And entrepreneurs, if you're listening to this right now, there is no excuses. There ain't one.
There's so much out there.
Okay? Just ask it for our semi-retired chief revenue officer here at RAD and Spec's partner on the summit that you guys did. There is no excuses. There is not one excuse. You cannot tell anybody on this phone anything. Trust me. All three of us, our common denominator on this phone is we've had a lot, lost a lot, had a lot, lost a lot, and are having a lot. But at the end of the day, nothing was given to any of us on this line like that, right?
Nope.
So if you are basically interested in not just getting down to the nitty-gritty of what it takes, so you gave a lot of insight. If I'm an entrepreneur listening to this show, and they want to find you, or they want to reach you, or they want to get in touch with you through your team, what do they do?
Yeah, I have a podcast too. It's called A Spectacular Experience. And this is funny because I hit number 1 on the music podcast, and I was just like, you know what? Let me switch to another weight class because I hit number 1. So now I'm on a business podcast now, and now I'm climbing up the charts on that because it's the hardest one.
I want to hear all about that. What does it take? And maybe you could sprinkle some of that business podcast juju on Rad.
Yeah.
I just had to slide that in there.
Yeah, no, I can help you with all that stuff. I talk off air because I don't want everybody to get the sauce.
Yeah.
But also, so now, I think I made it to number 11 on entrepreneurship on podcasts.
11 now? Wow,
I'm
nice,
hitting number
man.
11. Yeah. So it's one of the hardest podcast, the business one. If that's the hardest category, because that's why people
super hard.
usually
You have
listen.
there's some A+ people in that category.
Yeah. It's the big dogs. So I was like, all right, let's go.
Honestly, that doesn't surprise me, man. I mean, you're just one of those guys that when you do you do it right, you're successful. I mean, honestly, I'm just kind of thrilled to have you in my life. I love working with you guys. You have an amazing team. Everyone's always on point. I feel blessed to be able to work with people like you. I feel blessed to be able to work with people like Marco. I mean, honestly, last week's show we had this really female entrepreneur on who was a CEO founder, and I was just talking to her, and I was talking to her some similar kind of things. It's like, well, how do you come up? You're a woman CEO. And she wasn't even able to get a mentor until the last 6 months because men would either run the other way from her or they would want to hook up with her. One of the two.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when she was talking to me. I was like, wow, I would be one of the guys that wouldn't do it because I just wouldn't want anyone to think anything weird. That's also not the right way to think about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, man. I mean, I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for you. Marco, thank you for, bringing Spec on the show. All of our listeners, today was a treat. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for being playful with us at the beginning. I thought it would be fun to have. Because I was actually going to take off my shirt for our listeners today.
No.
Like what Spec went? Where the hell Spec?
And by the way, I hope your beautiful family is doing amazing. And how's your little boy?
Man, he's good. He just took his first teeth out. His first teeth came out the other day. He felt so good. He felt like, I'm a big boy now. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Marco, pipe it in from Colombia, Medellin. I mean, you're so connected to the world still, man. I feel closer to you now than I ever have in our 10 years of knowing each other.
The whole world is remote now. So
remote,
no,
man.
you saw that coming though, right? That you paved the way
I
for remote. All right, man. All right. So, Spec, thank you. Entrepreneurs, you just got some rad intelligence for influencers with Marco Hansell, Jeremy Barnett, and our amazing guest, Mr. Spectacular Smith. Tune in next week at Thursday at 10 a.m. for some more rad intelligence.
We forgot about this because we need intelligence, right? So everybody want to sign up to my free program. Not even free program, my free masterclass. You guys can text me at 786-661-1224. Text me the hashtag masterclass. All right. Okay. So you guys can text me. Also, the Spectacular Experience. Make sure you guys subscribe to my podcast. Make sure you leave a review on this podcast. Man, hit the thumbs up button. If this is on YouTube.
Call to action right there, guys.
And also, I need you guys to rate this. All right, however you feel. If it's 5 stars, 5 stars. I love to see feedback, and I'm gonna check out these ratings from this podcast, man. So you guys check me out. I am Spectacular on all social media platforms. And see you guys at my podcast now. Peace.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, Thank you, brother.